meals and see my granddaughter at 4 years old go into a cold school.
I'm Jessel Noor at Baltimore City headquarters, where dozens of parents, students, and activists expressed outrage at freezing temperatures in classrooms across Baltimore City last week.
This heating situation isn't new. It's out of sight to the general public and has become one of the many unacceptable norms to those who are in the schools daily.
Shame on us that it is acceptable or even an option to have the children of Baltimore City in this current situation. The children who are defenseless, but not only defenseless, but are being prevented access to one of the greatest weapons they will ever have in this lifetime, the weapon of knowledge and empowerment through education.
Despite an overflow audience, the school board delayed public comment, which outraged the audience.
I'm going to say one thing now. There is space, hold on, there is space here for people to speak. We are creating space on January 22nd for people to speak.
We failed. This is a tragedy. What if we couldn't make it on the 22nd? Huh? We got jobs. I can't even really go to work like I want to because I got to take care of my children first. I should have to make that decision.
The emotion, and while it was not in the normal order of things, we appreciate that you spoke. It's not an easy time for anybody, particularly with children and grandchildren in the schools. You are right. You're wrong that we don't care about it and that we're not trying to do something about it. But
Housing and so has the price of Rosemont Elementary School. So when you tell me you care and it's an asbestos issue there and we've been discussing it since December the 7th and you tell me you care, I don't believe it.
The school board ultimately relented and allowed public comment to happen about 45 minutes after the school board meeting started. Many in the audience blamed the state of the schools on the state and Republican Governor Larry Hogan, who has said the state gives enough money for Baltimore schools and blame mismanagement.
I'm going to point fingers at Governor Larry Hogan and Annapolis. We are one of the poorest jurisdictions in the state of Maryland, and we depend on state funds. And if the funding protocols don't accommodate the fact that I don't have a big bank account, right, that I can write advance checks on, then the funding protocols need to change. And don't be sending us a little stupid $2.3 million check when you rescinded over $65 million in projects. I want a check in Baltimore City this week for $65 million.
And nobody's hands are clean. Our elected officials, city council, mayor, governor, our state delegation, everybody has a problem because constantly what we do is see listen, I was featured in People magazine 10 years ago, sat in front of this board 10 years ago, talking about exactly the same issue. A shell game was played with the Education Trust Fund, saying that we were going to have additional funds from these casinos, something also installed to take away from our communities and build inequity.
That's right.
And we don't have that money. That money was moved out, and now you're saying that we don't have enough money, Larry Hogan.
My immediate concern is actually about the narrative. It's not about the conditions that my students are facing, because they've been facing these conditions for years, and I trust my school administration to make every effort to make sure that my students have heat. But what I'm concerned about is a national narrative that basically blames Baltimore City for its poverty and doesn't acknowledge that this is something that's been done to Baltimore City by decades of neglect.
A lot of this has to do with the systemic oppression of black folk in general. People have to not be naive enough to believe that this facilities issue is a thing that came about just now, right? There was an entire $2.1 billion campaign called the Transform Baltimore campaign, headed up by the Baltimore Education Coalition, that was won in 2014 because of the issue of knowing that our school buildings have been dilapidated and eroding consistently since the 70s, right, when they were built.
Because we aren't watching, we are here. regularly, consistent, starting at a PTA at your school, going to a PTA meeting, supporting the people that go out to the meetings, and it's only a sprinkle of us. It should be all of us. All of us. This should be a norm. This shouldn't be the minority. This is a regular school board meeting. This should be all the time for our babies.
The school board has organized a public forum later this month, but activists are demanding that happens sooner. We'll keep following the story. I'm Jess Lenore for the Real News Network with Cameron Granadino.